Good morning class. Today we are going to continue our chapter 10, that is motion and measurement of distances. You know how we can measure distances?
Yes.
Okay? You know you have read in activity 1 that how we can measure length of table, length of desk. Okay? And we know what is motion, that we have read in chapter 9 that all living organisms can move. Okay? And we are coming to school, so how much distance we cover to come to school, for coming to school. Okay? So we have read motions and how we can measure distances in this chapter, but yes, now today I am going to play a video for you. Okay? It's a cartoon video. You will better understand how what is motion, how we can measure distances. Okay? Okay. Yes. Okay class, I am going to play a video for you. So watch and listen carefully.
Teacher, here are sweets for the new car we just bought. Congratulations, Sanjay. Thank you for the sweets. So, you will now be traveling to school in your new car. Yes, teacher. My father will drop me to school every morning in the new car and then I will take the school bus home. Very good, Sanjay. We all travel every day to come to school. Some of us come by bus, some by the school bus, and some by their own cars. But have you thought about what was used by people earlier to travel from one place to another? Bullock carts and tongas. Good. Let us look at some modes of transport used in the early days. Children, in this lesson, we will learn about the various modes of transport and also about the measurement of distance along with the types of motions. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe the various modes of transport, explain the standard units of measurements, describe the types of motions, modes of transport. Have you wondered how people traveled in the earlier days? In the early days, people have always used animals to travel from one place to another. For example, bullock cart, horse cart, etc. Can you imagine using a bullock cart to come to school every day now? Nowadays, we have progressed and we have learnt we can use fuel and natural resources to create better modes of transport. As you can see, hence we now have cars, buses, roads, railways, motorbikes, aeroplanes, ships, etc. to travel. Introduction to measurement. Do you know how people know how much have they traveled or how much is the length of a leg of a chair? This is done by using a term called measurement. Measurement means comparing an unknown quantity with a known quantity. The known fixed quantity is called as a unit. When you derive the results of this calculation, you get the measurement in two parts. One is a number and the other is the unit of the measurement. You can also calculate the distance of one place to another. For example, the distance from school to your house. Units of measurement. In the early days, units of measurements included the length of a foot, the distance of a step, and the width of a hand. However, these were difficult to maintain as the length of a foot would vary from person to person. To standardize the units, a metric system was put in place. This system is a standard unit of measurement, and the system of standard units of measurement used now is known as the International System of Units, or SI units. The SI unit of length is a meter. Each meter is divided into 100 equal divisions. These are called centimeters, or cm. Each centimeter has 10 equal divisions. These divisions are called millimeters, or mm. To measure distances, we use a term called kilometers, or km. Measuring length. For measuring the length of any object, we need to choose an appropriate device so as to get accurate results. For example, the measuring scale that a carpenter uses is different than the one that is used by a tailor. If these are interchanged, you can imagine the amount of confusion it will cause. Measuring length of curved line. To measure a curved line, the standard measuring tape will not be enough. You will have to use a different mechanism to arrive at the correct length of the curved line. To measure, you will use a thread along the line of the curve. You will use the thread from one end of the curved line to the other end by stretching the thread along the line. After you're done, straighten the thread and measure its length. You will know the length of the curved line accurately. Moving objects. You will notice that there are objects that move when you apply force or are moving on their own. For example, you will see honeybees flying from one flower to another. So also, you will notice that the blades of a fan move when electricity is applied. This is known as motion. It is defined as a change in the position of an object with time. Types of motions. As you know, motion is the change in position of an object with time. The change in its position can be determined through distance measurements. Let us look at the types of motions. Rectilinear motion. It is the type of motion in which objects move along a straight line. For example, march. March past of soldiers in a parade. Circular motion. It is the motion of an object that keeps a constant distance from a point. For example, hands of a clock. Periodic motion. It is the type of motion in which the object repeats its motion after some time. For example, motion of a child on a swing. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. The modern modes of transport used. Measurement means comparing an unknown quantity with a known quantity. The known fixed quantity is called as a unit. In the early days, units of measurements included the length of a foot, the width of a hand, and the distance of a step. The system of standard units of measurement used now is known as the International System of Units or SI units. For measuring the length of any object, we need to choose an appropriate device so as to get accurate results. Motion is defined as a change in the position of an object with time. There are three types of motions: rectilinear, periodic, and circular.
So children, you have seen the video. So I'm going to ask a question and you will answer. Okay? I will call your name, then you will give answer. Okay? So my first question is that what are the early modes of transport? Yes, Jenya.
Bullock cart and horse cart.
Bullock cart and horse cart. Good. Sit down. Yes. Yash Kumar.
Yes, ma'am, bullock cart.
Bullock cart. Okay. Yes. Next question is what are the modern modes of transport which are used nowadays? Yes, Darshan.
Ma'am, aeroplane and bus and trains.
Okay.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming.
Good. Okay. Yes, Danish. What are the modern modes of transport?
Ma'am, your voice is not coming. Aeroplanes, buses, ma'am, ships also.
Yes. So the next question is, what do you mean by the term motion? What is motion? Motion, Vihan, what is motion?
Ma'am, may I tell?
Yes.
Ma'am, the moving of an object within a period of time.
Yes, anyone
Ma'am, can
else?
I tell?
Aryan, what is motion?
Ma'am, can I tell?
You don't know the answer, beta. Yes, Kuldeep.
Movement of a person at a period.
Ma'am, can I tell?
It's not correct. Yes. Who is saying, ma'am, I can. Palak Mishra, what is motion?
Ma'am, the movement just from time to time.
Okay. Yes, Sohan Ota, what is motion?
Motion is the change in the position of any object according to the time and the observer.
Okay, good. Yes, Ronil Swami.
Motion is the changing the object that is moving in a periodic time.
Okay, Arush, what is motion?
the change in any object. This is called motion.
with respect to time. Change in position of an object with respect to time. टाइम के साथ साथ जो चेंज होते हैं पोजीशन में, मतलब अपना प्लेस बदलते हैं, ठीक है, दैट इज कॉल्ड मोशन. ओके, सो व्हाट आर द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ मोशन? What are the different types of motion? Yes, Vihan.
Ma'am, there are 3 types of motion: rectilinear, periodic, and circular.
Yes, very good. Yes, what are the different types of motion? Shivam? Yes, Ayushman. Wait. Ayushman, what are the different types of motion?
Ma'am, there are 4 types of motion: rotary, oscillating, linear, and reciprocating.
Linear नहीं बेटा, linear. It's linear. Rectilinear. Can you repeat your answer?
Ma'am, there are 4 types of motion: rotary, oscillating, linear, and reciprocating.
Your pronunciation is not good, beta. Please correct it. Yes, Sohan Ota.
Auxiliary, rectilinear, circulatory, and periodic
Yes.
motion.
Yes, good. Arish Patil.
The rotating motion भी
Ma'am, there are 3 types of motion: circular motion, periodic motion, and rectilinear motion.
Rectilinear. It's rectilinear. Tuli Singh.
And there are 3 types of motion: circular motion, period motion,
Periodic.
rectilinear
It's
motion.
periodic, beta.
Periodic motion.
Okay, Anshika. What is rectilinear motion? Rectilinear motion. Rectilinear motion. Arif. Examples भी बता सकते हो. You can give examples only. Yes, Anamika.
Ma'am, motion in a straight line, it is called
Yes, Jenya.
Yes, ma'am.
What is rectilinear motion?
The motion that
Ma'am, can I tell?
straight line.
Okay, Darshan. Yes, Darshan. Good. Beta.
Braid of a soldier.
Yes, march past done by soldier. Yes, Shraddha, what is rectilinear motion?
Ma'am, can I tell?
Are you Shraddha, Anshika? Are you Shraddha? I am asking this question to Shraddha. Okay, Amit Singh, what is rectilinear motion?
and the straight motion.
Ansh Mishra, what is rectilinear motion?
Ma'am, the motion in a straight line is called rectilinear motion.
Okay, good.
Soldier march past.
Yes, example soldier mass pass. Yes, yes, good. Okay, next question is what is circular motion? Give one example also. Circular motion with example. You have to explain it. Who will explain? Yes, Akriti. What is circular motion?
Then circular motion is that motion.
Ma'am, example of circular
Wait,
motion is
Shraddha.
moving
Shraddha,
of
wait. Wait, Shraddha. I'm not asking to you. Yes, Akriti. Yes, stand up. Komal. What is circular motion? Give one example. Yes.
When like a fan is moving, a clock is a hand.
Okay, sit. Yes, stand up after Garima. Yes. What is circular motion?
Circular motion is the motion when globe, when fan is moving around.
In a circular motion. Okay, in a circle. Okay, sit. Everyone sit down. Gauri Sinha, what is circular motion? Give example. One example. Sit. Beta. Priyanka Yadav,
Yes, ma'am.
what is
Ma'am,
circular?
circular motion means those motion which is more but in our fixed point. Like example, ma'am, we is more but in our fixed point.
Okay. Okay, beta. Who will explain?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
I-
circular motion move in a circular path.
Yes, Shata, wait for your turn, beta.
circular motion are motion which moves in a circular path are known as circular motion. For example, clock is moving around the numbers.
Yes, very good. Circular motion